And we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Coffin Cast number 9. I'm Brad the Impaler, and joining us, we have Tim Blake, also known as
And we're
Demotivator.
live.
Oh,
Ladies and
crap.
gentlemen, welcome to
Hold on.
Jesus. Number 9.
What have you done?
Brad the
What have you fucking done?
I didn't mute that. I didn't mute that tab, and there I went fucking everything up. All right, anyway, we have Demotivator Opinion with us. Say hi.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's short notice, but I don't care. It's all good.
That's kind of how my streams do. I go short notice. That's just how it is. So I wanted to
you just like you randomly invite people like a minute or 2 minutes before you even
right.
do the
I'm
hangout.
just like, hey, you wanna come?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so here we have I wanted to talk about the first thing is Dylan Roof was sentenced to death today. So hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Is that what it is?
Is that what it is? Yeah, exactly. No, but seriously, I think this is a good thing. The man doesn't really deserve to live. What do you think?
Well, it's fun. Like on my Ask Us FM, I got a question which was, "What is the like least liberal or progressive thing about you?" And probably my views on the death penalty. I think I'd lose a lot of my liberal and progressive cred because, but I, it's difficult because the way that it's currently run, the death penalty, like there's a lot of people on there who it's not cut and dry. Like there's still questions, and I think if there's questions about it, if it's not cut and dry, then I definitely think that the death penalty is not appropriate because you can't have people on death row that you're just not fully sure about, or occasionally someone who didn't actually do the crime gets done for it, and then they end up being on death row, and that's wrong. And there's too many people who are in that situation. But the example I always use is like Anders Breivik. We know absolutely for sure what he did. He admitted what he did. He killed like 50-something people. I don't see, like, after you kill 50 people, what right do you have to spend the rest of your life just sitting around being alive? Like, I feel like in that situation, if he gets the death penalty, which he won't because he lives in Norway, that's absolutely fine with me. So in certain circumstances, I think death penalty is fine. But I also think people are very concerned about it being abused, which is a valid concern at the same time. So,
it definitely is.
What do you think?
Well, see, here's the thing. I mean, there's certain things like I think you can be too liberal with the death penalty, meaning like somebody who does might be insane or maybe did something in a fit of anger. There's really no reason, but someone like this who methodically planned to kill a bunch of people just because of their race, that's a problem, and that kind of person doesn't deserve to be fed off of my taxes, to be quite frank. That's the way I look at it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you, and that's like one of my least progressive or liberal views. So that's the thing that I brought up. I was like, probably lose a lot of liberal or progressive cred because liberals and progressives, etc., are often 100% against the death penalty in every circumstances. But as far as I'm concerned, like, what right does Dylan Roof have to be alive after killing 9 people and not really giving a shit and not being insane? It's like premeditated. Like, why does he get to hang out and live? After taking away so many years of other people's lives, I like that's not fair to me.
Right. Before the jurors went to deliberate, he said something to the effect of, "I still believe that I had to do it." So, I mean, there's no remorse in this.
Yeah,
there's no looking back and going, "Oh well, I fucked up" or anything like that. Which right before, and that's the way he felt. And if that's the way he felt, then he doesn't really need to stick around in society, in my opinion. Which,
like, I don't even think showing remorse should necessarily save you from the death penalty, but it is something to take into consideration. But he didn't even offer that, so.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, so what I was about to say is, I identify as a libertarian, and that's a very non-libertarian point of view, I think, that I have. But I mean, there's just certain people that I don't want to see our government waste a dime on. You know what I mean? After the things that they do that are just so egregious. It's horrible.
That's why, to me, like, I mean, I think it is a high standard. Like, black and white, cut and dry. They did this. It's like,
yeah.
but there are, if there's a case where there's any doubt, the death penalty is not appropriate. Like, what do you think?
I mean,
like it has to be beyond doubt, in my opinion.
Right. That's what I believe. It has to be like, yeah, of course, let's get rid of this person. Like the majority is just like, you know, you've done something so egregious that you just don't belong around us anymore.
And that's why they have considerations for like insanity, etc. I guess it's because I guess there's some hope of rehabilitation if they get their mental state proper. They can't really feel remorse because they can't understand what they did, I suppose. But in the case of Dylan Roof or Anders Breivik, particularly Anders Breivik, I think, like, apparently because he lives in Norway or whatever, there was some like I forgot the exact details, but there's some story about how he was in prison. He was complaining that he didn't have the right like PlayStation games, or he didn't have enough channels on his fucking TV or something. And that just made me, that just filled me with rage. I was like, fucking kill this guy.
Yeah.
Fucking pile of garbage, complaining about like lack of TV channels or whatever. Man, you know? So it's stories like that that make me think I'm not against the death penalty in all instances, but I also know that there are problems because the death penalty is abused, and there are lots of people on death row who probably shouldn't be there. So that's the problem. It's slippery slope, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely true. I mean, there are people who I know of who you know, finally through a bunch of appeals, and a DNA test came back, and there was no way it was them. It's like, oh shit, you know, that they appealed their death sentence so many times. Thank God they're still alive, because we kept trying to kill them, and they were innocent.
Well, occasionally people make arguments like, you know, back in the day, like somebody made the argument to me that back in the day they would accuse black people of rape and then give them the death penalty. But I mean, the way that I envision it, it wouldn't be run or based in any way like that. So, I mean, yeah, you know, in the past they did some shit pretty fucked up. But I think cut and dry murder, I don't know like how many people you have to kill for it to be warranted though. So what would you say? Like, oh, 2 people, that's not enough. 5, all right, kill them. Like,
well, I mean, I think also a big thing that you have to take into consideration when deliberating on these things is what was the intent? Not necessarily the amount of people, but the intent behind the act. If the intent behind the act was pure hate and there were no mitigating circumstances at all, which there aren't in a case like this, a man went in and killed, you know, so many people in cold blood. That's the kind of thing I think that should be looked at, is the you know, is the intent behind the act, not so much the body count that came with it.
Right. Well, I think the thing is, often they take themselves out in the event, so there's no concern for that. But then occasionally you have a case like the Dylan Roof one or the Anders Breivik one where the perpetrator is still just hanging around, and it's like, what do you do? You do the courtesy of fucking killing yourself after this. Now we have to figure out what the fuck to do with you, you know.
We have to spend money. We have to spend money, do a fair trial and all that.
Who was that Asian dude, Korean dude who shot up Virginia Tech? Because I remember like seeing his video with Cho or whatever, Hyung Cho or something like that.
Are you talking about the guy who was like, women won't pay attention to me, fuck women, like the first MGTOW? That
was Elliot Rodger.
Okay, yeah.
The Virginia Tech guy, I'm looking at Hyung Cho. He murdered 32 people in 2007.
For what?
You must be younger than me, right? Because you can't remember that.
Yeah. I'm 26.
Right. I'm 32.
Same
age is bearing, actually. Anyways, so and he made this video before he went on the shooting. He made this video before he went on the shooting where he's just like, "You have treated me wrong for too long. You must suffer," and all this kind of stuff. And the guy seemed mentally off in many ways, but he did end up killing himself. So if you've got this dude who kills 32 people, but he seems like way off in his brain, does that make it more difficult to you applying the death penalty?
Definitely. You know, there's things that can go wrong in the brain that turn you into a completely different person, that make you believe things that you wouldn't normally believe. And I think that we're too conservative with the with what it takes to plead insanity. But at the same time, you got to be really careful with that. You know, you got to make sure that someone's not getting off of a death penalty or off of life in prison to spend some time in a nut house.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, it's because it's a difficult thing because like 32 people is fucking insane.
Right.
And I
Well,
think
we had
we
this
do
guy.
have this desire for vengeance. You know?
Right. This guy that recently shot up the Fort Lauderdale airport. He was hearing voices in his head that were telling him to watch ISIS videos and join ISIS. He believed the CIA was trying to control him. And then he carried out the act that he carried out. I really believe in a case like that there's a kind of insanity plea that should be given to this man, that he came back from Iraq. He wasn't doing well mentally. He went and he told the FBI what he was thinking, what these voices were telling him, and they ended up letting him go after 4 days of evaluation. That's not good.
Yeah. Well, I think the terrorism thing's interesting because I get like people seem to treat terrorism and the person being mentally off as like mutually exclusive. So when like the Orlando shooter guy, when people are saying like, you know, he's a terrorist because he talked about ISIS, and then other people are saying, you know, he's mentally off and he had all this like repressed homosexuality he couldn't deal with, so he's taking it out on the people in the nightclub. Part of that could be to do with his religion, and other to do with like his mental problems. He had like aggression issues, etc. Why can't it be all of the above? It seems like everybody, but then people are like, no, he was ISIS, and it's like, no, he was mentally off. It's like,
right.
ISIS said to people, lone wolves should go kill people. So to be an ISIS, all you really have to do is say, you don't have to have any like actual literal connection to ISIS. You say like, I'm doing this in the name of ISIS, and then you're essentially as good as ISIS, even though you're not
exactly
ISIS.
what he did.
Like, you know? Yeah.
That's exactly what he did. Now, excuse me. What I would like to say to that is, you know, in order to be a terrorist, you kind of have to be, at least according to Western society standards, a little off in the head. But I guess you have to make sure that there's a line that's drawn between somebody who's a sociopath. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, a mental institution is not going to help a sociopath. A sociopath is somebody who pretends to have real emotions or actually has, you know, little to no care for anyone else's life. And that's kind of what we see when we see these terrorists, either psychopaths or sociopaths. And these type of people need to be taken off the street. And I don't think they need to be put back on the street.
And then it goes back into the whole gun debate, of course, like having access to guns, background checks, yada yada. The big government can't fix this, and then just go around in circles.
Apparently, Bearing silencing people in my chat.
Did you make him a mod or some shit?
I did.
What do you want?
So was there anything else you wanted to talk about after this Dylan Roof thing? Before we move on to the main topic at hand?
Is that the main topic? I was not aware of that.
Well, it's the final topic, so I consider that.
This is a short podcast, isn't it? It's not even like we're on like 10 fucking minutes. It's already gonna end.
I know, that's what. No, we're not gonna end. That's why I'm trying to like.
Rush? Are you in a hurry? Where the fuck are you going?
No, I'm just saying. Did you bring anything else to talk about?
You invited me on, motherfucker. It's your job to give me topics.
Well, okay. Let's continue talking about this death sentence thing. Okay. We have a guy like Charles Manson, who we are paying a lot of money to keep alive every year. He recently went and got some medical services, emergency medical services at a hospital. Who do you think's going to be paying for that? Why are we trying to keep alive a man who doesn't give a shit about anybody else's life? Why are we paying to keep that man alive?
But the weird thing about, like, I mean, it doesn't make a difference, like, symbolically or whatever, but like literally, he never killed anyone. That's the thing I find really weird about Charles Manson is like he's the most evil man in the entire world who never actually did the crime himself. He just got some other people to do it. So if you influence other people to do evil shit, I guess that is death penalty worthy or whatever. It's just quite fascinating how he's like enemy number one, but he was actually just this charismatic guy who convinced some other people to do some crazy shit. I just find that quite fascinating.
Yeah.
Because
but
back in the day when I didn't know that who Charles Manson was, I was like, oh my god, he must be this like serial killer. And I look him up, I'm like, he never actually killed anyone himself, so that's a bit weird.
right. I mean that's the case. And but at the same time, he was directly responsible for each of the deaths that occurred by his followers. Right. Directly responsible.
Yep, that's true.
It's not like he said some things and then his followers took that and went. No, he directly ordered the attacks and the killings that went on.
Right, and he's also extremely non-remorseful, and he's a waste of like taxpayer funds, and he goes out of his way to do propaganda and shit. Yeah, I mean, true. That's the non-liberal side of me coming out. Or like maybe that guy deserves the fucking death penalty too. But
I mean, he was just recently taken out of prison to have a hospital stay because he needed to be admitted into the emergency room. So obviously we're paying now thousands upon thousands of dollars to keep this man alive. Fuck that.
Right. But I think the issue with the death penalty is that it's not being applied fairly. So there are people who will do crimes where there are questions about what actually happened, or there's some kind of doubt, and they'll just apply the death penalty anyways. And there's all these people sitting on death row. They don't actually fully know for sure whether they did these crimes or did anything. Right. And I think that's the main problem with it. Like I'm looking up a time.com article, and this could have been written by some evil feminist SJW, but it says the death penalty racist, classist, and unfair, and patriarchal. No, I added that, but just to trigger you. But but I think there could be a point to that because certain criminals, and I can't mind read or say if it's racial, but certain criminals are sitting on death row that I think shouldn't be there. So and then people like Charles Manson are sitting around wasting everybody's time when perhaps he would be a much better candidate to actually be on death row. So it doesn't seem like it's really applied very sanely. You can't just be like, I don't like this bunch of people, so I'm going to put people who are like this on death row all the time. Like there has to be some kind of standard. And I think that the standard for doubt should be extremely high. It should be like epically beyond doubt. And I think in the case of Charles Manson, like we don't have much doubt about him. Or Roof. Yeah, I mean, look at the fucking guy. He's just a walking train wreck. We know what he did. So, yeah.
Manson is a man who doesn't want to be let out of prison. He wants to live. I mean, he was raised in prison. He was abandoned. He kept going to jail for stealing things. He was a ward of the state. They kept him in prison, and then when he got out, he used the skills that he learned in prison to try and survive out here, and that's what led to what we end up having. Is him controlling all these people to get done the things that he wants to get done, the revenge, the race war he wanted to start. That was all his planning. Was he wanted to start Helter Skelter, which was in his eyes a race war, and he and his followers would hide out in Death Valley while Whitey got killed by Blackie, and then Blackie wouldn't know how to run things. And
as a Beatles fan. As a Beatles fan, I find that fascinating because that song is literally just about a slide. It's literally just about a fucking slide. How did he make it into a race war?
Well, he did.
It's ridiculous. He's like, it's a metaphor for race war. Like they asked Paul McCartney, he's like, no, man, it's just about a slide. That's not the very Liverpoolian accent, but it's literally about a slide.
Yeah,
how to take a race war. God.
Well, so his imagining was that this race war was going to start. Blackie would defeat Whitey, and then Blackie wouldn't know how to run things. So Manson would come out from hiding with his followers, and he would rule the world, while Blackie served him.
Was he always a Nazi? Because I looked at his photo; he's got a fucking swastika on his face.
I don't think he's a Nazi. I think he does these things to make sure he doesn't get put back out on the street. Because, as you said, he didn't actually kill anybody. So he has to make sure that people think he's insane and would do it again. Put him back out. He's an edgelord.
He's edgelording out. He's like, yeah,
because he doesn't know how to survive out here. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
He also wants to stay being the boogeyman. You know, he wants people to be scared of him.
Right. He gets off on that power.
I think, you know, when you watch interviews with him, he doesn't actually seem that genuine. It seems like he's trying really hard to be scary. Right. He's trying to be the devil man. That's why he's doing this stupid laughing and shit. I don't really buy it. I think he's probably just full of crap, you know.
Well, yeah, that's what I've been saying, because I mean, it's very obvious to me that he just wants to stay in prison because they take care of him. He has every guard has their head up his ass. He has a television, he has a couch, he's able to get whatever the fuck he wants in there. He has it made.
He gets a reach around.
So there's really no reason for him to leave.
Yep. That's true, eh? Also,
And
I just thought of another topic. That kidnapping. The BLM kidnapping.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Okay, so we know for a fact that it wasn't directly related to BLM. It wasn't a BLM ordered kidnapping. It wasn't something that was in their rhetoric. But I do believe that Black Lives Matter, the movement, was responsible for the type of environment that these young Black people grew up in, and were taught. And they believed that they couldn't be racist, and that this was them getting their just desserts for all the years of my oppression.
but to what extent is that blame on BLM? Like for their
a massive amount of blame is on BLM, in my opinion, because this is a group of people who have done nothing but stir the pot of hate. This is a group of people who have gone above and beyond to make sure that blacks hate whites, and this is a problem.
But I think that logic is very related to, for example, if I say, oh, this YouTube channel is creating this environment where people blah, blah, blah. Everyone's like, no, you can't possibly make that kind of argument. But now you're making the exact same style argument just about BLM, you know? So, I mean,
okay, but we don't have a vast majority of people, where if PewDiePie started doing something that created an environment and you know, a false flagging or something like that, yeah, we'd have a problem. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about an environment of leaving, you know, hate comments or whatever versus killing people. Black Lives Matter has produced the rhetoric that was responsible for the death of cops in Dallas, Texas. Or what was it, Dallas? I think it was Dallas.
Well, for example, you did mention Elliot Rodger. What if I said that men's rights activists were responsible for creating the environment? It's almost exactly the same, actually. Like, create an environment that made Elliot Rodger a woman and feel entitled. Because there's no link between Elliot Rodger and
I don't really hear a lot of MRAs shouting the only good woman is a dead woman.
I don't hear a lot of BLM people saying that. I do hear, like,
you hear a lot of Black Lives Matter chants going, the only good cop is a dead cop, or the only good pig is a
I've heard of maybe 2 to 3. I mean, there's probably more. I don't know. Is there like a website where they compile this? But like, well, yeah. What other examples? I've heard like pigs in a blanket fry 'em like bacon. What do you want? Dead cops. And I actually went and checked that out, and that was a bunch of people who hung around after a massive rally. So they were just like a total minority. I have no idea who the fuck they were. Maybe they were BLM. Maybe they were just some random radicals.
But when you're being taught, when you're being taught that white people don't care about you, that white people owe you, that white people are the devil, that white people are doing this, and white people that, you're going to grow up with with this slanted view of the world, and that anything that you do to a white person is just justified, is justified by that.
The question is that specifically BLM? Or is there a bunch of more radical people who, some of which will be in BLM, because there are in fact radicals in just about any movement. The question is, how influential are those radicals? How prominent are they? How much are they controlling the actual organization? I think you can apply that standard to just about anybody. Like if I look at MRAs, like how prominent or influential are the radicals in the MRA versus the people who are actually like, we care about male rights. So I think that's the question. It's just a matter of like scale, really. And I think we disagree.
While you're making that argument, you then post videos on your channel about the type of environment Bering's creating. So you got to pick a side on this argument.
How is that the same?
Because it's only... Bering, his message is not, hey, go attack this person. Hey, go, go dogpile this person. That's not Bering's message. Bering's message is ha, ha, ha. But you take the radical fans who go and shit on a video and you blame that on Bering. While I'm trying to...
Yeah, well, that's not actually contradictory to what I just said. I said you have to figure out to what extent.
To what extent
or insane people. What's that?
To what extent is he responsible in your eyes?
Well, this is tricky because now we're talking at kind of cross purposes, because you yourself just said that people can create an environment. Mm-hmm. So now, like, do you think that he can create an environment where people go over and believe all that hate and shit?
Well, I think that there is a big difference. I mean, I've never heard Bering once say anything about attacking another channel, but what I have heard BLM saying things like the only good cop is a dead cop, and pigs in a blanket, fry 'em like bacon. Those kind of rhetoric.
This is a bit different though, because Bering is like, I know he's like the king of the shitlords or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's undoomed.
I don't know if he's the king of the shitlords. I just know that not what you're making him out to be.
But he is just one guy, whereas BLM is an organization. I think that is a little different, because one person can influence a conversation in various ways, but an organization is kind of spread out. So if one person from, like if Bering was part of some other organization, he did some sick shit, would that be the fault of that organization, or would that be his fault? So, I mean, it's a complicated subject.
Well, if the organization's message was hate and that white people or that certain groups of people owe him or them or this or that, that creates an environment. But I don't hear any message from Bering other than ha ha ha, look at the stupid feminist.
Well, all right, I'll give one example. He made a video about this dude called Angry Bastards or whatever, and I know that guy. I mean, I haven't talked to him that much, but he seems a bit strange, to be perfectly honest. And because, I mean, I have to say that in order to actually explain the situation. So Bering made a video about Angry Bastards where he basically just like froze his face in this funny looking way and just sort of laughed at him. And the whole video was just sort of him laughing at it. Like, I don't know what the actual points were, what the criticism was, what he was trying to say. He was just saying, hey, look, this guy's fucking weird. He's a freak. Let's laugh at him. And then the description was basically like, the video was called Unintentionally Hilarious.
Okay, so I've had this problem with...
I'm just trying to... Let me finish explaining this. So, and then the description basically said he's a whatever, retard, funny, blah, blah, blah. And then it had the link. And then what do you expect's going to happen? Like, everybody goes over there and they say, haha, retard, look, you retard, whatever, you're a freak. And I couldn't see the purpose of the video. Like, what was the point? What was he trying to say about Angry? But like, was he just saying, look, this guy's funny, let's laugh at him? I mean, okay, you can do that, but then you can't say that's creating an environment where it's just about criticism and open debate. It's literally just laughing at this guy. I
just recently did a video just a couple days ago about Lacey Green coming to the same conclusions that you're coming to about comedy. Comedy is not supposed to be about anything other than having a laugh. That's what Bering is he's comedy. He has a joke. He laughs. He moves on.
Right. At a specific individual, and then his fans go and also laugh at them, and they just repeat it over and over again. and that leads to, like, for example, Bering just made a video in response to me. Now my comment section is just full of people saying, beta cuck, faggot, kill yourself. Some guy said, hug a landmine. Other one said,
are you going to cry?
No, I'm just pointing out that this is the kind of shit that happens. It's just right there.
And what's wrong?
I'm not going to cry.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with
that it's shitty behavior? What's wrong with fucking Black Lives Matter influencing people in ways that you don't like because it's shitty behavior?
Okay, there's a big difference between kidnapping someone and scalping them and going on someone's channel and trolling them.
Oh, right, but so you would say that but you would say that rhetoric always leads to people kidnapping and scalping? No, it doesn't. Sometimes it just leads to people being fucking twats to white people. And then I hear complaints, people complaining
up cops. Yeah, like Edinburgh said.
Some people on the internet commit suicide because they're being bullied. You know? And are you going to blame, like, you know, using your logic, so you're going to blame that on Bering? Like, if someone goes to someone's channel and bullies them so much they kill themselves, based on your logic about BLM, you're saying that's Bering's fault. And I'm not saying that would be his fault. I'm just saying that he could take steps to change his content so it's not just so personalized as individuals, like, hey, let's go over there and insult them in every possible way they can. And then they say it's all about, like, criticism and dialogue. No, it isn't. It's just, like, trying to destroy me, you know, basically. Anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, so you've recently been having some, done some videos about Bering. Now let's just, you know, cut to the chase here. You've had some videos about Bering, and about the whole doxing situation. Why don't you explain kind of briefly where you're coming from, the best way you can, so that we can understand what you're saying?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, if you go watch my original video about the situation, all I said was, I woke up, received a message from somebody who said, Christy, Danny, somebody else, I don't know, whatever, somebody else. Oh, fuck. If I say that, then he's going to randomly pick someone else to say doxed him. So just pretend I didn't say that. Okay. Because that's just the fucking way it works. He's just going to make some shit up. But, okay, so Christy Doxy.
You're not being very charitable here.
What? Okay.
You're not being, I mean, you're just going to say he's just going to make shit up. I mean, where's the evidence where's the evidence that he's not just making incorrect inferences from the data that's given to him?
How do you go from, all right, so what I said in the video was, they were sharing some information that I have no idea where they got it from. I don't know if it was just floating around the internet already available. So I just said I don't know. And I heard secondhand that they talked about something in private that they deleted. And what I said in that video was, I don't want them to go down the road of doxing. And people took that phrase and said, oh, he's saying that they doxed him because he said they started on the path of doxing. I said, no, I don't want them to start on the path of doxing. And I think it was all hearsay. And then I was talking to the fucking Bering cab douchebag.
Yeah, here's the thing. So that's what we're talking about.
He goes to Bering, and then Bering makes a video where he's like, I know who doxed me. Bering and
I want to talk about those messages, okay? Because you said in those messages that you had heard it was Danny. Now, where did you hear that from, Tim?
I'm not sharing any more information about anything. I'm sorry. So
really,
I'm not giving any new information or anything.
So now you are responsible for any inferences that are made off of that information, don't you think? If you're not willing to pull it up.
If you ask me who I was talking to, my answer is go fuck yourself. I'm not telling anybody anything else because I'm not interested in starting more witch hunts. I'm not interested in.
This isn't about a witch hunt.
If I say I was talking to somebody, suddenly they'll become the doxer and they did 9/11 and you know, it'll get ridiculous. I'm not telling any names of anybody, no one. So you can't ask me anyone I've been talking to.
The names that you've already put out, is you heard it was Danny and you think it might have been Christy too. That's what you would.
Who did what? Who were talking in private about information that I never said they doxed. I also never said that they coordinated with Encyclopedia Dramatica. I never said that. It was made up. That was 100% invented.
that's like the DNC saying, "Oh, we didn't mean for those messages to get out, so it's all not valid."
What are you fucking talking about, man? I said look, go watch the original video. I said it was private. I heard about it. They delete all right. Where do you get from that they doxed Bering and that they coordinated with the people on ED? How?
Well, it's only a hop, skip, and a jump from there. That's why I'm saying
bullshit. That's not being skeptical. It's not using evidence.
Okay.
That's fucking slander.
While at the same time, I do not think that conclusions should be jumped to based on those messages. And I said that on Twitter. But you have to say
a hop, skip, and a jump. Oh, come on, man.
Yes, it is a hop, skip, and a jump.
Because that's fucking trash. This is such bullshit.
Because you're involved in that group of people, right? You're involved in that group of people. And if that's where you're hearing it from, then obviously that's where it came from, right?
No. No. How do you know that like it's completely invented and made up, and I never said that they were the ones that doxed the information.
Yet you refuse to clear it up?
I am clearing it up. I've said the same thing over and over again, but people refuse to listen because it's my theory. They want to destroy Christie and they want to destroy Jenny. And that's all it's about. They just want to destroy Christie.
And what would be the purpose of destroying Christie?
I don't know. Like people just hate her because she's like smug and she's rude.
She's definitely smug.
Yeah, she copy and paste the same comments. She talks about patriarchy, and it fucking triggers all you guys. You can't fucking handle having like a different opinion. It just drives you insane. Everyone's like, must destroy her.
Well, it's not about the difference of opinion as much as it's about the authoritarian intent behind the opinions. And when someone's saying, "Oh, you have to recognize this and you have to do this and have to do that and give these people more rights," when you think that they don't need any more rights, they're perfectly fine the way that they are. Anything else is just special treatment.
Does that mean you can just make up whatever the fuck you feel like about another person?
Doesn't she?
So two wrongs make a right. Is that what it is?
No, I'm not saying that two wrongs make a right, Tim. But what I am saying is, what can you expect from one side when the other side's doing the dirty work already?
But I'm fucking sick of this eye for an eye bullshit. I would never accuse Bering of doxing someone based on absolutely just hearsay evidence. If someone said to me like, "Oh, Bering was sharing around some private information about something," or whatever, I wouldn't make a fucking video about it. I'd be like, "What can I confirm about this?" And I'd look into it and be like, "I can't confirm anything about this. I'm not going to just go and make allegations." But Bering, he does this thing where he makes everything into like an ultimatum. So the moment he makes a video about you, instead of listening to anything that I actually said, he turned it into this thing where he was like, "Release the names, Tim, release the names." And suddenly I've got like all of these people saying, "Tim, release the names, release." And I'm like, "Release what? What do you mean? Like what? About what? What am I saying?"
Well, who told you that Danny did it? That's the number one question people have.
Oh, my answer for that would be fuck off. I have no interest in telling anybody any names about anything. So that's not going to happen. Don't bother asking, because I'm not interested in creating more witch hunts about random people. So then what's going to happen to that person? What are they going to say that person did? They'll say, "Oh, that person, I don't know. So you come out in a video, some other shit about ED. I don't know. Something.
You come out in a video saying that you're against doxing, that you don't want a doxing war to start, and yet when you have the ability to call out someone on their doxing, you refuse to do it. Except unless it's Bering, then you'll call him out.
Well, I was extremely open about what actually happened with that information. I said they shared it in private, then they deleted it. How did that turn into they were the original people who released the information and they were coordinating with ED? How did it turn to that? And how did it turn to this witch hunt of like, release the name so that we can say that they did all this shit that you didn't even say they did, And then everyone's like, "Tim's backtracking." I'm like, no, I'm trying to point out what I actually said. I'm not backtracking. Go watch the original video. It's still accurate. And even then, Christy didn't agree with me because I talked to Christy about it. She was like, "Actually, I didn't this or that." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's just what I heard." Because it was pure hearsay. So I was like, "Well, that's just what I heard about it." But she was like, "No, I actually didn't, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Fine."
Okay, but, I mean, here's the thing. You understand that there's a lot of speculation around this, and that it can be cleared up just by saying who told you the information that you already were spreading around to people.
No, that is pure shit. Well, speculation, the one thing I've learned is the speculation is fueled by giving anybody information about anything, because it gets so twisted through this ideological lens, like must destroy Christy, must destroy Tim, must destroy feminism, must destroy Michael. If I put out any new information about anything, it's going to be so mangled beyond belief. It's just not worth the grief. It creates speculation. So I'd prefer to just leave it until people stop wildly coming up with these ridiculous theories, because they're always going to come up with theories. Like I said, if I say somebody's name, that person is suddenly going to be responsible for 9/11. I have no interest in that. Whereas before, I would have been like, honestly, before all of this shit, I would have been much more comfortable freely sharing information. But if I share information and it gets completely mangled beyond belief, that I can't even understand like how all of these allegations are suddenly forming, I have no interest in sharing it. So I'm just not going to share it. There's no point. It feeds speculation. So I just completely disagree.
I don't know. What I think feeds speculation is the fact that you were all against doxing and all against a doxing war, and then all of a sudden, when you become implicated in the middle of a doxing, you refuse to share any information. No information.
How am I implicated? What am I implicated in? This doesn't even make sense.
You obviously.
No, I was talking to a friend about something, and I stupidly, naively decided to talk about something I talked about with a friend. That's it. I wasn't implicated in anything.
Topical Cream says to ask you about the chick that DM'd Bering. I don't know anything about that. What's that about?
What chick?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. And yeah, you did.
Saying I was responsible for the Holocaust.
What?
Seriously, the accusations are so wild and out of control. I mean, and the funny thing is, Bering keeps saying like, oh, I'm over it now. I'm over it, mate. I'm going to move on. And then he just makes another video. It's like, you're not doing a very good job of moving on if you keep tripling down on all your allegations.
Georgia something or other? Topical Cream says Georgia something or other. If he would just give us what the tweet said, that'd be helpful. But no, okay, so no matter who got what tweets or whatever, you have been implicated in having the names, or at least some kind of facts of having the names who did what happened, and yet you're refusing to release that information.
What are you talking about? Wait, what? Okay, all right. You tell me what I said was apparently happening. Go.
Well, when you said that you heard that Danny did it, that the doxing.
No, I didn't. I said that I heard that him and Christy
black and white, Tim. Come on.
No, listen to me. That they were in a private Facebook conversation in which they may have, because I wasn't there, I just heard from someone else, shared private information that I didn't say that they doxed themselves, that they then deleted. So, all right, go again. Tell me again what I was saying.
Okay. In the DMs that were released by Bering Cab, you stated in black and white that you had heard that Danny did it.
Did what?
The doxing.
So again, I said that they were having a private Facebook conversation in which, like, do I have to just keep repeating this over and over again? They were having a private Facebook conversation. I didn't say that they doxed the information, and then they promptly deleted it. When I heard about it, I was angry because I thought they might be going down the road of doxing. That's it. Full stop. All right, so we'll try again. Tell me again what happened. You see, like, this is ridiculous.
You're not gonna.
Oh, when the fuck did I say Danny and Christy doxed him? I never fucking said that. This is ridiculous. It's just made up. It's just invented. You know?
Hold on.
It does piss me off because it's just made up.
Hold on. So, okay. So I guess what Topical Cream's bringing up here is Georgia Hinckley DM'd Bering and said, "How did you like your doxing, Patrick? You can talk, you pathetic loser. We all enjoyed watching you get exposed for the coward that you are. Maybe you will have some accountability for your blatant bullying now."
Who the fuck is Georgia Hinckley? I mean, do I have to go look them up? All right.
Then there's, "You don't remember me, do you? I know you IRL from a while ago. How do you think Christy got your info?" So, what do you say to that? Those DMs.
Who said that?
Georgia Hinckley. It's at Georgie Whisper.
I think, yeah, that person can say what they want. There's all kinds of allegations flying all over the place.
Well, that's not an allegation. That's the source of the info saying who they gave the information to.
I've never heard of this person. Who are they? All right. Yeah. I mean, fuck. I was going to make a joke, but I know it'll be taken out of context. I'm not going to do that. But yeah. Okay. Wow. That a person said something amazing.
But this is the source of the information saying who they gave the information to. Basically calling responsibility for it to Bering in his DM. So obviously, do you think someone would just make that up and be like, "Yeah, I'm the one who doxed you. I know you from real life, blah, blah, blah"?
I don't know. I know for sure that Cobalt Cat is making up all kinds of random shit. So yeah, people make shit up.
I mean, I have no respect for Encyclopedia Dramatica whatsoever. I don't. But at the same time, there's a lot of fuzziness here that can be cleared up just by answering a few simple questions. And one of them you've already just refused to not answer.
Why would I bother saying the name of anybody just so it could be twisted beyond recognition and all of these new rounds of allegations can take place? What is my motivation for this? And like I said, Bering always
the only allegation is,
instead of fucking engaging, Bering's just like, release the names. Whereas I prefer that he just go fuck himself. Like, why am I just trying to follow around your stupid demands? Fuck you. You know, it's ridiculous. What names? What? I don't even understand this crap. It's like this fucking McCarthyism, like, except on a much lesser scale because it's YouTube. So let's not get too out of hand.
I don't know.
I don't know who Georgia Hinckley is, so I don't know. This person I've never heard of. I guess there's a great source information. But I certainly know that Cobalt Cat dude doesn't seem particularly trustworthy, especially when he says in a conversation with Liz Reptile, you have to figure out whether I'm lying. He literally said that. He was like, "Am I lying? I don't know. You'll have to imagine." And then she was like, "Did Christy dox Bering?" And he was like, "Yes." And she was like, "Good enough for me. Good enough." I was like, "What? Seriously?" Like the standard of evidence is so low. It's just blatantly obvious that people want it to be true. Basically.
I mean, there is no group of people I know that has it out more for Bering or out for anybody for that matter as much as Christy and Christiosity do for Bering. Like, I've never seen so much targeted hatred on YouTube since Boxy.
I mean, you suddenly believe in targeted hatred? Ugh.
I always believe in target. No, I've always there is such thing as targeted hatred, and there are times like the amazing, or no, what's his name, the atheist gamer who targeted a minor, and really was just just hateful, not funny, nothing, just hateful. That's an entirely different thing. But we're seeing a constant. Christie's channels recently has just been all about, and your channel recently has just been all about taking Bering down. So what's going on with that?
Well,
why can't you guys all just let it go?
Because he makes videos about me where he says that Timmy boy spilled the name because my butt boy showed our private conversation to me, and then I decided that means that they doxed him and coordinated with ED, and recently just had a video depicting me as a Nazi in the thumbnail. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to just roll over and say like, "Oh, go right ahead and just slander me however the fuck you want"? You know, he does all these character assassinations of me and everybody I know. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit back and just say that's fantastic? No, I'm going to respond. I'm going to.
Well, what's a character? What's a character assassination?
Well, for example, he did one about Christiosity where he said Christiosity is a liar and she's untrustworthy and she's untruthful. It had a massive thumbnail that said liar in it. And then he said that she was of low character. That's a character assassination. Well, that's cunty and fuck you. So because that's insulting and douchey, and that's a character assassination.
Well, what about
putting me in the thumbnail and depicted as a Nazi, and also saying that I said everyone who disagrees with me is a Nazi? That's not what I said. I said that the way people were talking about intersex people, continually stressing the abnormality, reminded me of Nazi propaganda. Now, I understand the Nazi word triggers a lot of people and they get very sensitive and they can't take it. But I was not saying everyone who disagrees with me is literally a Nazi. I was absolutely not saying that. So he completely mischaracterized me, and then he had me as a Nazi in the thumbnail. So why do you think that the well is so poisoned? It's because it's just these fucking videos flying back and forth.
Let me just say this for everybody to hear. If you want to put a little Nazi uniform on me and a little mustache on top of my other one, that'd be great. I mean, I have no problem with being depicted as that because I know it's not true.
Well, I don't just because you're okay with something doesn't mean I am.
Right. I just don't see why this has got to be. Why you have to make every video about it, and why it has to. I mean, you were telling me that you wanted this a couple videos, a couple streams ago, that you wanted this to come to an end. Yet you keep making videos. If you stop, Bearing will stop.
He just made a video about me. So,
because you're always making videos about him. Once you stop, I'm sure he will. I think.
No, he won't.
I mean, not here to say that, but
don't be foolish. He wants to destroy me and Michael and Christy and Christiosity.
Do you know how ludicrous that sounds, Tim? Do you know how paranoid that sounds?
That's not paranoid. Look at his fucking channel. All he does is sniper attack people.
Because you keep giving him ammunition.
No, not even that. Just like random people who are, social justice-y or feminists, like bedroom feminists, fucking 13-year-olds. His life goal is to destroy feminism. There's anything he fucking cares about. Don't give me that shit, man.
Are you a feminist?
Does it matter?
Because you told me you're not a feminist. So
why would that matter?
Because if his life mission is to destroy feminism and you're not a feminist, then why are you freaking?
Because I'm friends with feminists.
Yeah, well, that's another life choice that you might need to evaluate, especially with Christy, how smug she is, and I swear to God, man.
I don't understand you, man. You've got completely like weird values that are just all over the place because you're like, look at this targeted hatred from Christy and Christiosity at Bearing, and then when it comes to Bearing, it's just like crickets, just silence, nothing. You're just like, no, it's all fine, it's all good, it's all good.
Okay.
So many fucking excuses. I just don't understand it, man. It's bizarre, and all these false allegations. And you're like, no problem. So I think this is just an us versus them thing. This is literally like, if someone I don't like does something, my standards for evidence, my standards for saying that they're smug or shit or whatever, super low. But if I like someone, no problem. Just go nuts.
Okay, so I haven't levied any personal attacks against you thus far, but let's make something clear, okay? When I say something, it's backed by evidence. If you have a question about that evidence, you can ask me, but don't you dare accuse me of anything on my own stream. I haven't done anything like that to you.
I don't know, man, because I keep trying to explain to you how my video, like what my video is actually saying, and you refuse to believe that. You keep saying spill the names about what Danny did. And I keep asking, like,
all I'm saying is that would make things a lot easier for you. Another thing that would make things a lot easier for you is to stop responding to Bearing's bait. That's another thing, because that's all you're doing. You're responding to the bait. He's having a good laugh. He's getting the views. He knows what he's doing, and you're just eating it up. You need to realize this.
I'm going to respond to what I want to respond to. I don't care. So I mean, I good advice. Great, cool.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What was that? You want to respond to what you want to respond to? So you're just not gonna.
No, I'm not. I don't like. Because Bearing made a video about me recently, I get so much fucking life advice from people. They're like, do this, do that. You shouldn't respond to this. You shouldn't respond to that. There's too much drama on this channel. There's not enough drama on this channel. And
I'm sorry. I thought we were having a conversation. If you don't want me to fucking say that, then fine. But I was just trying to be real with you. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to tell you how I see it. That's what this whole thing has been about. Having an actual conversation, saying how you see it, and being real. So that's all I'm doing is being real.
No, it's, I mean, I respect you having an opinion. That's fine. Like, I have no problem with that. That's all good. I would just appreciate if he, like, if he wants to make any more videos about me in the future, that he would at least attempt to not completely mangle everything I'm saying. That's just that would be nice. I guess that's all I'm saying. And I guess I can just stop responding and just sit back and watch the continual fucking attack videos flow in and just do nothing about it.
I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if he sees that he's triggering you, he's going to keep doing it. That's what his job is. He's having a laugh, and you're giving him that laugh. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's all I'm saying. You can take that information, discard it, do whatever the fuck you want with it. I'm just giving my opinion on that. I'm not giving you advice. That's not my job. I'm not in control of your life, and I don't give a shit, frankly. I think we're friends. I think we can have conversations and we can disagree with things. And that's all. That's it. That's all that's the only place I'm coming from. I don't know where you think I'm coming from, but that's all.
Oh no, man! I'm not reading your like intentions or whatever. I mean, everybody has advice. Everybody has an opinion about what you should be doing, and that's perfectly fine. But I also think you have to do what you think is right. And I've always believed that people should respond to things that are about them. So if Bering makes responses to me, that's perfectly fine. I just don't want him to fuck up everything I'm saying. That's all. So, like, like people have said to me, like, if somebody makes a video about Bering, then they shouldn't respond. And I say, no, it's about him. Of course he should respond. I just think you should be reasonable about making a video about some fucking rando 13-year-old feminist in their bedroom. That's all. But if someone talks directly about you, I mean, I can't see any circumstances in which responding to them is not okay because they're talking about you.
I'm not telling you that it's not okay. I'm just saying that if your desire is to see it stop, then the best thing to do would be to stop responding to it. If your desire is to keep feeding into it, then do it. If your desire is to defend yourself every time you get accused of something, then do it. That's you. But if you want it to stop, then the only way that I can see you doing that is leaving him alone. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I just think I can't let constant allegations stand. That's all. I mean, what are you supposed to do? I guess like make a shorter correction video, just with some doopy music and some text pointing out all of the fucking shit they got wrong about what I said or think. Is that what you're supposed to do? Just doop. Here's some text. No, I was not saying everyone who disagrees with me is a Nazi.
I mean, this all started with the TEDx talk, right? That's where this all started. Like last year in October or something? September?
It probably started before that, just with a constant bit of bickering back and forth between anti-fems and fems. That's been going on for a while. So it's weird. It's really weird because it fluctuates between conversations of substance, such as the consent issue and the trans and intersex debate, into just like crazy, wild allegations, like giving it the names, like you admitted somebody did this or something, and people throwing around all these like wild conjectures about conspiracies and stuff. And then it's like you're expected to I don't know, jump on a stream or have a conversation just about substance when the well is so poisoned. It's very, very difficult to do that. And it's often like, I would totally want to make
trying to do it.
Well, I want to make a video about something more substantial, but then I fucking open my browser and it's like, Tim thinks everyone's a Nazi. I'm like, Jesus. Yeah.
I don't know. That's just not the direction that I would be taking. There's only a certain amount you can amount of talking points or whatever you can say until you're just repeating them over and over again. And that's where you've gotten to. You're just repeating the same shit over and over again. And frankly, I'm sure Bering's going to get there pretty soon too, if he stops coming up with you know, jokes. It's just going to be the same shit over and over again. And
it's difficult because sometimes I feel like I'm just talking at a brick wall, you know, like if I can.
Bering's going to do what Bering's going to do best, and that's have a laugh. That's what he's going to do. He's going to do it. He's good at it, and people want it. You can either decide to engage or not engage, and you've decided to engage. So expect hate from his fans. Expect to be at the other end of this. Just like if I keep trying to start a fight with Lacey Green, and I am fully expecting all of her fans to come on me full of hate, and I'm okay with that. You need to either accept it or stop engaging in it.
Why do you want to fight with Lacey Green? Like, what's that about?
Because I feel that you can get much more done, find out a lot more in real-time conversations. And if I can get her to if I can get her to respond to any of the many things she disagrees with me on, it'd be great to have her on here and we can have a real discussion. That's all my channel's about, is discussion. Sometimes I like shit on feminists, but you know, my main goal is to start conversation.
But say that started, and then Lacey Green started making videos about you, accusing you of A, B, and C, and saying you said this, you said that, and that was fully not what you meant. You'd be pissed, right? And I'm pretty sure you would probably go to war. You'd be like, well, YouTube war, not real war, and be like, fucking Lacey Green, I'm gonna go after her. Wouldn't you?
I would be frustrated if she came up with lies. I would make a video to refute that, and then I'd be done with it, because there's no reason to feed into her drama even further if that's all she wants is drama. That's what I would be doing if it came to Lacey Green.
But you just said that you were trying to start something with her. And what? But do you mean like start some kind? Like, I haven't watched your videos about her. I don't know if they're insult laden or if they're like
they
debate style. Yeah, well, you know, I mean, if you're gonna have,
there's both in the video.
It's hard to expect her to just be like, oh, look at this insult-laden video. I can't wait to engage and have a rational debate with this person. They'll be like, wow, this is very hostile, and then you'll just have a negative interaction, right? I mean,
well, I'm sorry, but two opposing viewpoints coming together and having a conversation, yeah, it might be negative at some points, but at the same time, people will learn things. People will learn about her side of the argument. People will learn about my side of the argument, where I'm coming from, and then they'll be able to make informed decisions on their own, hearing both sides to their fullest. That's what a conversation's supposed to be about. That's what a debate is for. That's why I have my channel.
Right.
But if she's just going to go down to false allegations and just start making videos, you know, saying, oh, he did this or he did that, or doxing me or whatever, I'd make one response video saying, no, this is true. This is not true. This is not true. That's true. Whatever. And then drop it. I'd be done with it. There would be no reason to keep engaging with just pointless insults back and forth at that point.
Right. Well, I definitely think that's the problem with this kind of conversation, is that it always just turns into you did this, you did that, because I guess the history of grievances gets so long that eventually people forget why they were fighting in the first place. And then they have such a long backlog of grievances with each other that no matter what I say this week, they'll say, but you did this last week. And then I'll say, well, you did this the week before that. And they'll say, you did this the week before that. And I'll say, you did this the week. And then we're just gone forever. Like, I kind of think that Bering is a bit of a drama vortex, and it's very easy to get pulled into it. So it's true. I just need to do some other shit. But it is funny, like when I make a song, like a cover song, and then people come on the comments, they're like, you fucking beta cuck fag, blah, blah, whatever. And I'm like, this is a song. This has nothing to do with the fucking fight that I'm having with Bering. Can't you just enjoy this song? But the grievances build up, you know? And there's this whole just backlog of shit people are annoyed about. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I got to get out of the drama vortex and just talk about the death penalty, because it's more fun. But But yeah, man, I know that like our exchange has been kind of like contentious and shit, but I do feel passionate about it because it is involving my views being used in videos in ways that I'm pissed off about and not happy about. So, you know, if people keep saying that I said Dan and Christie were doing things that I didn't know about because it was just hearsay, then I'm gonna get annoyed and just keep saying no. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Hello? What? Are you still there? I can't hear you.
Sorry, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, my mic wasn't unmuting for some reason. What I was trying to say over a muted microphone was, you know, I wish I could have gotten Bearing in here to kind of defend where he was coming from, because I can only say what I see coming from it. And you know, I may have been putting thoughts in his head or something, instead of representing him fairly. But what I will say is that I think once you come to terms with the fact that Bearing's channel is about having a laugh and about taking a shit, then, like he said numerous times, then maybe you'll realize that if you stop giving him things to laugh at, he'll stop laughing.
But that's confusing because then people are like, you can't face his criticisms and his arguments. It's like, well, is it about the arguments? Is it about having a laugh? Or is it about both or what? Because I certainly think like that video I talked about, Angry Bastards, that was literally just like laughing at some dude. And then if people go leave him hate and you're like, hey, this is pretty fucked up, they're like, you just can't handle his arguments. It's like, what arguments? He just painted him as retarded and that was it.
Well, again, you're conflating Bearing and his fans. I mean, Bearing's.
No, look, I mean, I get in arguments with them all the time. They're like, it's just a cartoon bear. It's just a cartoon bear. And at the very next second, they'll be like, you can't handle his academic, skeptical, intelligent arguments. It's like, well, which is it? Is he just taking the piss or is he trying to make a point? Like,
okay, but you're talking to me and you're talking about Bearing. Fuck what everybody else is saying. We're talking about, you know, without all of that muddying the water, without the well being poisoned. We're supposed to be talking without all of that. And I don't think that we should be putting Bearing's fans' actions on Bearing. That's just the way I look at it. It's, you know, if he responded to comments and went, yeah, you get him, on a hate comment on a feminist video, then yeah, maybe we'd see that he's responsible for that behavior. But I just don't see it. And we've had this argument before.
I mean, I only bring that up because that's the people I end up getting into the weeds with every day, you know? So I see the whole gamut of arguments, like the whole range of things.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are very contradictory, but yeah, okay. I mean, I can't, you know, you can't account for like just random people having contradictory arguments. I just find it interesting, maybe from like a sociological perspective. All of the different angles people approach it from. You know, yeah, that's about it. So, I mean, I don't know if I've solved anything. Probably just created more rage.
Well, I just think that the conversation needs to be had, but in a conversation, not just videos going back and forth, because, you know, you're missing each other's points. You're not understanding each other in a lot of instances. It's just, this is why I prefer conversation, because if you're caught up on something, you can ask somebody a question and be like, is that what you're trying to say? That's why
I don't think the situation is helped by throwing out allegations about things based on hearsay. So I think he should just retract those allegations and then everyone would be a lot calmer, basically.
I mean, unless he has evidence to refute the allegations, I'm not sure he will.
What do you mean? So based on hearsay, if you think something's true based on hearsay,
it was a screenshot of an actual DM. I mean, that's
Yeah, but he made the allegation directly after no, not even my video, after some dude leaking a private conversation I was having, in which I did not explicitly say those things. I did not explicitly say those things. I never said anything about ED. Where the fuck did you get that from? And that was directly in response to my video and saying Timmy spills the names, whatever. So I think he should drop such allegations as that, which is why if you ask for any other information from me about anything, I'm not going to give it, because it's just going to feel more bullshit allegations and witch hunts, so people can speculate away, because they're going to speculate anyways, I'm not going to fuel that. But all right, I swear to you now, you don't have to believe me because I'm such an untrustworthy S2 scum, whatever. If I am ever involved in a conversation where somebody says, hey, let's dox Bering, yeah, what a great idea, fantastic, that I will screenshot it and show it.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed. But I have never seen anything like that, so I don't have any screenshot to show of anybody talking like that, unfortunately. And if I'm having a conversation with a friend about something that they saw that I didn't see, and they are not pushing any agenda, they're just saying what happened, I'm not going to tell you their name. Why would I do that?
I just, I don't know. I think that there's more information about this. I think the only ones who have really had it out for Bering recently have been, Christie and that gang over there. So it just looks suspicious. That's all I'm saying. It really
suspicious does. Without you just saying it is this. People can say Christie's suspicious all they fucking want. Like, what do I care?
Right.
Go right ahead. Ooh, she's suspicious, but don't tell me like she did this. Unless you've got some better proof than just like, all right, some random trolls and someone called Georgia Hankley that I don't know about said it was true, and me talking about hearsay. Like, you've got to have something better than that. Where's the screenshot that is real and confirmed of Christie saying I am doing whatever? Not that I know of.
Well, I mean,
the Amanda person in the chat really hates me. So sorry, Amanda.
Amanda is a member of the Impaled.
I hope we can be friends.
She's a white supremacist. Not really.
God, actually.
No, she's not really.
But look, people say like shit like I'm trying to sit on the fence and be on both sides and all this kind of crap. I legitimately am fucking sick of all the sides shit. It's so fucking irritating.
Aaron Cab says he doesn't hate you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but I don't trust Baron Cab because he leaks private combos, so I'm sorry I can't talk to you anymore. I hope that doesn't offend you. Yeah, I mean, if I get to know someone and then they are leaking all my conversations to someone else, I'm not interested in knowing you anymore because I can't trust you. I can't trust that I'm talking to you. Right. And that's a choice. I'm free to make that choice. Just be like, I have no interest in talking to someone who's just going to leak things I'm saying to other people.
I think that's fair enough, but at the same time, it doesn't take away the suspicion of the message. That's what I'm saying.
Even that conversation was all speculation. I was like, what does he mean by you ratted me out to Bering? Oh, wow, that wording means that he's really guilty and shit. But that was literally like, as a friend, you ratted me out to somebody that I'm having a fight with. I wasn't talking about anything like specific. I was just saying, wow, you totally stabbed me in the back. That's what I was saying.
Well, it is. I mean, you can understand that strange word choice, though. I mean.
Right, but I was like, fuck. I had to be real careful with my word choice because I didn't realize that I was feeding everything I was saying to Bering. So I should have said, you stabbed me in the back. That would have saved me some grief. But then no, more speculation. What does he mean? Oh, my God.
Right.
Wow, it's a conspiracy. Like, I hate the internet.
I mean, I would just be repeating myself. You know where I'm coming from, where if you just, kind of came more clean about what that part of what your part of that conversation was.
I've been entirely honest. I have just said that my original video on this said, because like that was right after I talked to that person, just go watch it. That's it. That's it. Full stop. Just the original video. All the other shit that got added, I mean, to me, that shows the whole sides thing, because it's like, now we have to create this conspiracy and we have to destroy. Based on some hearsay, you know, and that's frustrating. And the reason I was like, people were like, you trusted a guy called Baron Cab? Because yeah, I mean, I'll talk to anyone, I'll chat to anyone, so long as they seem honest and like they're not just trying to, you know, backstab me or destroy me or something. And I thought that he wasn't, but then I was wrong. So, and that's why I talk to you, because I feel like you're not interested in like destroying me or crushing me. You know, like our exchange got contentious because I have strong views on it and you have strong views. So, you know, you're like, if you're going to do this, I'll fucking kick you off the stream, you piece of shit, whatever. But you know, it's an honest conversation.
Real life just hit me in the face. I'll be right back.
Shit, what am I supposed to
talk to Amanda.
Oh God, that sounds fun. I could do some rapping. Straight Outta Compton. That's a good song. Straight Outta Compton. Ice cold nigga, cold ice cube. That's not how it fucking goes. Fuck the police. That's a good one. Fuck the police coming straight out the underground. A young nigga got it bad because I'm brown. And not the other fuck. Yeah, I'm better at doing this rap when I'm just chilling out in my bedroom. Talk to you. Okay. Why should we trust cunty fisters isn't a filthy ass hat? I don't know. Sing for us.
Back.
People keep bringing up Kevin Logan.
Yeah, so what are you going to say about that?
What is the rational shit condemning?
Rational shit. Oh, he should retract his prior allegations of doxing threats.
Oh, are we talking about that email?
Yeah.
Well, that is tricky because I mean, that is partly interpretation, because I interpreted it as intimidation to dox, but other people were like, no, it's just a joke. Oh, low. So that's a tricky one, because if I received such a message from a prominent anti-fem or somebody else, I would probably see that as a doxing threat myself, and I would probably want to release it. So,
right.
I think I'm probably okay with it, because I think it was, I mean, less interpretable than my conversation with Baron Cab, but other people disagree, I guess. They're like, no, it's just lols. So there is a bit of interpretation to that as well. I don't know. What do you think about it? And to be clear, he didn't dox anyone. That was the accusation. The accusation was he was threatening to. That's
joke or not. According to Rational Shitlord, joke or not, he sent the email after he had been doxed, threatening to release the info on Danny's about page.
Who did?
Baron.
Oh. He sent an email after he had been doxed, threatening to release the info on Danny's about page. Yeah, what is that going to do with anything?
Well, he wasn't threatening to release any information that wasn't already on his YouTube page.
Right, but I mean, like you said earlier that Christiosity and Christy, I can't remember your exact words, but like they're on some kind of, they make hateful comments or something. I don't know. You couldn't see how that can be interpreted as someone threatening someone, being like, "Hey, I've got some information about you," and
well, I mean, not if it was.
You don't know where it's going to escalate.
I put on my YouTube. I wouldn't be freaking out if it were information I put on my about page. I'll tell you that.
But you could definitely read that as a threat, I think.
I don't think so. I to be fair, without I'm not trying to insult you, but I think you'd have to be pretty simple to jump to that conclusion when you know what's on your about page. I mean, you put it there.
Right, but I can't think of any circumstance in which I would find some information about someone and email them and be like, ooh, hey, found this information about you. Like, why would I do that? And how is that funny? Like, how is that a joke? So I think that it's really not unrealistic to see how that could be interpreted as a threat. And then all these people saying, but it wasn't a threat. Well, I don't know how they know that either.
Well, because the information's publicly viewable. You can't threaten somebody with stuff they've already released.
Yeah, but what's the purpose of the email? Like, why would you say that?
I'm sure
if we were like, if there was a feminist that you were always fighting with, and they said, "Oh, hey, Brad, so I just came across this information on your page, and blah, 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 that you know, this is your school and this is your you don't." Wouldn't your mind go to like, maybe they're going to try to get me like kicked out of my school or something, or like contact my professors, or like you'd have and then everyone comes in and just says like, oh, Brad, you're just autistic. That's why you're interpreting it so stupidly. And you're like, no, this guy sent me an email randomly saying shit about my school. Like, come on. If like, you can see how that's skeezy, can't you?
No, not if I put my school in my about page, man. I would just be like, oh, okay, big boy. I mean, it wouldn't be anything to me. I'd be like, okay, if someone's trying to threaten me with information in my about page, I'm either going to laugh at them or play along with what must be a joke.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
I can only take your word for that, because I mean, if you're put in this like exact situation where an ideological opponent who has a lot of subscribers is sending you such an email, I mean, you can say now that you would be like super charitable towards it, but maybe you would, because you're more of a charitable person than a lot of the other people I've talked to. But I can definitely see the other side. He wasn't doxing him. That's true. I think it could be read as a threat. Maybe it was bad to release it just because it does fuel more of this shit, you know? Whereas, so I completely disagree with your point that like releasing information makes speculation die down. It doesn't. It makes it like flare up again. It's where you're like, so who's this person you were talking to on Facebook? I'm like, I'm not going to tell you that. Would you want to, would you prefer that? I was going to say, yeah, if no one showed that email, there would be less speculation. You know, so when you release information, people speculate more, not less.
Once information comes out, you need to either release everything or speculation will abound.
Right, but
once you release everything, that's it.
I mean, I read my conversation with Berencab and I know exactly what I meant when I was saying these things, but that's a lot different than random people reading it who are just like, he must have meant this. Where I'm like, no, I know exactly what I meant when I was talking to this guy, but I didn't expect like some just flippant conversation to be in front of all these random people trying to pick it apart, you know? I thought, oh, I'm just casually chatting to someone. You know, so I didn't word things right. I was reading through it, I was like, fuck, you know, I should have worded it like this, because then that would have much more clearly have expressed what I was actually saying. But I didn't know that my private my private conversation was just going to be leaked to the whole world, and then I'd have to try to defend it. I thought it was just casual, you know? So, I mean, privacy is a double-edged sword, because private things can come out that are hideously misinterpreted, and private things can come out which are actual evidence of things, you know? And somebody has to determine, is this legitimate evidence of something? Like fucking like Pizzagate, for example. Just to bring that up, it's like, there's no evidence of anything. Like Sargon Ricard said, Pizzagate is just circumstantial evidence, whereas I would say, no, it's just no evidence. There is literally no evidence of a childhood porn ring. It's all just speculation that because some guy posting some pictures with children at his pizza joint, because it's a pizza joint, children go there, and he's got some weird artwork, people were like, he must be a pedo running some kind of fucking pedo ring, and if you don't agree with me, then you are marginalizing all pedo rings. It's like, this is the worst logic I've ever seen, you know? So it's a two-edged sword, because the private information can be hideously misinterpreted as well.
I think that you definitely left it open for interpretation. And unfortunately, since you refuse to close that interpretation by providing any further information, that you're just going to be stuck at defending that until people get tired of it.
Yeah, exactly. People get tired of it. They won't get tired of it if I keep throwing out random tidbits. So I'm not going to do that.
Well, if you throw out everything that you have, I think people will at least leave you alone and then go on to whoever is implicated by that information.
I just don't agree, because my original video was me throwing out everything I had, except apparently some random person's name is important to you for some reason. Besides that, it was. And then it just
if someone claims responsibility for a doxing, then yeah, it holds a little bit of weight.
I didn't talk to anybody who claimed responsibility for a doxing. No one.
No, what I'm saying is the random person that you say I bring up admitted to being behind the doxing and giving the information to Christy. That's what I'm saying.
Who did?
The person that you just...
What? The person I was having the chat with? No.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
no,
the other
that was
that we brought up
with that. No, that was the person I was
talking about. Bearing Cap? You're talking about Bearing Cap.
I have no idea what we're talking about anymore, so just don't worry.
I'm asking, who were you referencing in your last statement before I went on a tangent?
Oh, I said I was talking to... My original video was based on me talking to someone about how they had... I can't remember if I've seen or heard about Danny or Christy having some private conversation on Facebook about it. That's it. Yeah, that's the person I was referring to. Like I said, like for some reason you're like, what is their name? It's like, why? They're just some random person. Like, what would the purpose be of saying another random name? So that there can be a wild witch hunt speculation and, you know, attack force going after this random person. I have no interest in doing that. You know, like, people can just speculate. They can say, like, I don't know, David Duke did it. I don't know, somebody, just pick a random name. They're the one who did it. Whatever. They'll speculate. You know, I'll say what I know, but I'm not going to just feed this fire of people making shit up about.
So what do you know?
What's that?
What
I've
do you
already
know?
said multiple times. Just go watch my original video on it. That's what I know. And I also know that the people on ED are getting involved in the mix, and there's some shady characters in there because I think the speculation that Cobalt Cat may have been Bearing's original doxer or somebody in that area, and I don't know. It's hearsay, but that's my impression.
Well, they have to. I mean, they have to get the information from somewhere,
right?
And that's well. I mean, who's the first person police go to look at an investigation? Your enemies. If you end up dead, your enemies. Well, someone on the internet gets doxed. They look for their enemies. Who doesn't like them? Well, there's no other group that stands out as much as you and your friends. And that's all that's all people are saying. I mean, this is where we're at.
Right, but that's literally just opinion. I mean, that's fine. Like I said, people can have opinions. And great, all right, but just don't make up allegations. If you want to say Tim is super shady and untrustworthy, you know, whatever, just go nuts. But don't make up allegations. You know, you can say I'm suspicious, or I don't care. You know, it's life. Like, people are gonna always think shit about you. Anyways, I guess have we covered everything? See, it's like it's a tense topic. It riles you up. Like, you get annoyed and you get irritable, pissed off, and then people are like, you're triggered. But it's literally just like it's frustrating that all of these ridiculous speculations are just flying around. Like, it eventually just get annoyed, get irritable. So it would be better to make a video about something. Your advice to me was right. Like, talk about something
So
else.
you have a fanboy or girl in the chat that's saying, "Get out, Tim. Why should you have to defend your actions? Make them defend Bering's copyright claim, or copyright whatever." Okay, yeah, he already said that he fucked up. He already came out with different art. He already removed all of his stuff. He's good to go, and he donated the money to charity. He's good.
That's another funny speculation of just lumping people together. Like, I did get a bunch of comments of people just being like, "You took down Bering because of his copyright thing," and I'm like, I had absolutely nothing to do with it whatsoever, because
Hold on, I need to Data Wasteland. Don't delete messages from people, even if they're disagreeing with what I'm saying. Unless they're kind of off the wall, like really violent or something. I don't want people silenced in my stream. That's what I'm saying. I don't want people silenced, unless you know the person and you're playing around. That's different, but it's different. Now, I'm not saying Tim did anything other than.
Not you. I'm talking about just like, as I said.
No. I'm talking to QWERTY Pumpkin, who said he did steal, though. What did Tim do? I'm not saying that Tim is doing anything. The only thing that I'm saying is that it might make things easier if he released the information that he had. I'm not implicating him in anything. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Which is funny, because it was fair for like Bering to make responses to me, because I made a video about him. My first video about him, I think, was the one which I'd probably rename because it has an uncharitable name. I said unfunny harasser of feminists or whatever. I would change it to unfunny enabler of harassers of feminists. So that was a bit unfair because I was saying that he was directly harassing them. So it was an unfair title. He enabled and definitely keep the unfunny. So I'd keep that there. But he said to me like no, he didn't say that to me. Like, people were saying, "You just want to silence Bering. You're trying to take him down. You want to shut down his channel." And I found out about the Total Island drama bear thing a little bit later, and I decided I'm not going to do anything about that. I'm not going to touch that because I actually don't want to shut him down. I mean, maybe I'm just like a person who's constantly nagging, saying, "You can do better. You could do this better. You could improve this," and he chooses to say "fuck off" to me about that. And that's perfectly fine. Like, it's the way it should work. But I'm not interested in like people going around trying to do copyright claims. And because when I upload, like, when I use a song on one of my videos that has a copyright claim, that shit pisses me off so much. I'm like, it ruins my whole video. And but the fucking merchandising, that was his problem. As from like using it in his video, like whatever, I don't care. Like, he's an unoriginal guy, so just uses an unoriginal bear, whatever. But the merchandising, that's a problem.
We're going to disagree on that. Number one, the bear wasn't that unoriginal. They redrew about 3/4 of it, if not more. It was just a fucking cartoon bear. But when someone did say, "Hey, I recognize this," and that's when a copyright claim comes in, when you can recognize the art of someone else. So. When he found out that the 3/4 drawing wasn't good enough, he made the changes that he needed to make. I see a lot of people blaming him, saying, he did this, he did that, he profited off of this. Well, he didn't profit because he gave the money to charity. When he realized that they didn't do enough work to make the art their own, he changed it. It was done. He didn't whine and bitch about it. He didn't say, "Oh, I should be able to keep my art because it's mine." He did the admirable thing. And he went above and beyond by giving the money to charity. He really didn't have to do that.
Well, I mean, if I was being a douche, because I never use this phrase, I would just say, look at that virtue signaling, giving it to charity. But whatever, okay, fine. I mean, that's just what he does after the situation, but the situation was what it was. So I guess he had no choice there. Like, it was really weirdly pedantic to be like 80% of the bear was original, when if you just look at it, it just looks the same. It doesn't matter, like, if you've made adjustments to it, if it basically looks the same, then that was just weird nitpicking. So I was he trying to cover his ass there or what? I mean, the bear was pretty much the same.
So I'm starting to get the feeling that there's nothing Bering can do in your eyes. You're wearing these anti-Bering glasses, it seems. Just every fucking thing he does, you've got a problem with.
maybe, you know.
I mean,
But yeah.
it's really looking like it's biased at this point. Because I mean, even when he does exactly what a person, a good person would do in the situation, that's just virtue signaling to you.
Oh no! I said if I was being a douche, I would say that I actually think fine. That's good. Yeah, he gave it to charity. What's wrong with that? Great.
I'm just saying, man. Oh, I'm biased is what it is. That's what it is. I'm biased.
Maybe we're both biased. Maybe I'm biased against bearing, and you're biased in favor of bearing, and horseshoe theory is true.
I don't
exactly the same.
Yeah. I'm all I'm saying is that you know, people fuck up, things happen. He owned up to it. He did what he was supposed to do. I'm gonna move on from this conversation.
Oh well, yeah, but my only point there was I am not interested in like actually shutting down someone's channel.
Right. And like I am the King 48 pointed out, and you may know this, Tim, back when that whole Bering drama was going on, I was one of the first to stand up and say, yeah, Bering messed up. He didn't use the art, you know, he didn't use original art. That's his problem. I changed my art when I realized that I may be towing that same line of taking original work. It was a reminder to all of us, and I made sure that everybody knew that they should be self-evaluating their own channels, no matter who. Yeah, that's the way I was looking at it. So I don't like being told by QWERTY Pumpkin here that I'm just making excuses when I was one of the first ones to say that's not right what he did.
Well, I think like making money off that artwork is like quote unquote problematic, but at the same time, like I said,
definitely.
If I release a video and then it gets blocked because of copyright, like it's enraging. Like fuck.
Right.
Just let me release my fucking video, you NBC or like whoever it is, you selfish cunts, don't you have enough money, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, but it's difficult. But all I'll say is I didn't report him for that, even though I knew about it months previously.
Right. Yeah, it's just crazy. I think that there's a lot of hate going back, coming from one corner of this situation. And
one corner, see, I mean, that's why you might be biased in favor of the Bering side. You think there's no hate coming from that side? Of course there is. There's hate going back and forth.
Now hold on. There's hate coming from Bering's fans, but there's nothing Bering's doing.
Oh, God. All right, we've been over this. I know he's pure as the virgin snow. I got it.
I don't think he's pure as the virgin snow. I think I just admitted a fault that he had. But we need to also recognize that anytime he's doing a video, I don't see any hate in it. I see him laughing. I see him joking along. Now there are fans who.
I mean,
what?
Like in his video, he said, "Tim thinks anyone who disagrees with me is a Nazi." Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's going to generate goodwill towards me? No, I mean,
no, obviously not.
You look at the comments, be like, "This retard's calling everyone a Nazi" or whatever. That's all they get from it, you know. They just get a whole like I receive a fuckload of hate. That's not exactly nice. So it's just funny how like whenever he does anything, you're just like, it's just yucks. It's good stuff. It's you know. I mean, that's why you could have some bias in the other direction. I think we both have biases. Like when you accused me of bias, I didn't correct you. I was like, yeah, probably. I mean, I am personally involved and we are constantly scrapping. So good point. Right. But I also totally reject the idea there's not a bunch of bias on the other side either. I think there's bias going both ways. It's a fucking hate fest. Obviously, you know? Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that I got every point kind of as far as that situation goes from you. I wanted to make sure that different questions that are you know, I could pose questions to you that I'm sure a lot of Bearing fans had or your fans had about the situation, and get your opinion on it. Amanda keeps pointing out saying you're a
She
two-faced.
really doesn't like me. I'm trying. Love
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Please.
I mean, I think there's definitely some anti-Bearing bias. But you know, that's you're in a constant battle with him, it seems. I just don't understand why.
If you said to me you're biased against Bearing, and I said no, I'm not. Well, I am involved in this like ridiculous, stupid, pointless battle of allegations flying all over the place. So that would be inaccurate. I am biased in some way, but I think I'm more biased when I see me being depicted as a Nazi, saying I think everyone who disagrees with me is a Nazi. Yeah, that annoys me, and then that makes me personally angry at Bearing, like doing that. So yeah, I mean, I'm just being honest about that. So, you know, but I know for a lot of other people, it's just because they really like his content, you know, and I acknowledge that. There's lots of people who like his stuff, and that's perfectly fine. But it does mean they could have some blinders about things that he does because they want him to keep making videos because they like them.
Yeah.
I mean,
what's your position on Christie posting and distributing the ED links?
Where was that?
I'm sorry?
Oh, right. Did she delete those later?
I think so, yeah.
I think that was a mistake, and that was like the wrong thing to do. Could have been a fuck up. I don't know. I think maybe she realized. I think she deleted them later because she realized it was a fuck up. I at least know, like, in that video it was accurate. She wasn't sharing those links just in that video, but could have been an oversight. I don't know. I don't know if it's malicious or anything. But yeah, that was a mistake. Absolutely, she shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Well, I think we've definitely hashed over this this topic enough for one stream.
Someone in the comments just said something interesting, which was completely unrelated. They were like, "Oh, just ignoring this person who was tortured, aren't you?" And it's true. We talked about that a little bit just from the BLM perspective, but I want to make it clear. Like, obviously, those 4 people were psychos, and people are saying, like, "Are they racist?" Yeah, I mean, they were saying like they have racial animus towards that person, that special needs person.
Right.
People are saying there's no evidence that they were influenced by BLM, but there's also no evidence that that person was like a Trump supporter. Maybe there is, I don't know, but it could have been racial. I think it was racial, combined with political, or it could have been more of one, more of the other. It's
no doubt.
There's a racial element, absolutely, of course, yes.
No doubt.
Yeah. Some people said, was it a hate crime because that person was special needs? And people have pointed out that they would have to have targeted that person specifically because they hate special needs in order for it to be a hate crime. Whereas they may have targeted that person just because they were easy prey because they were special needs. You know, so there's a slight difference there in terms of what's a hate crime or not. But I conceivably, yeah, easy prey could have been a way of them taking out racial frustrations on that person. Just like
could have been. Yeah. Could have been. Come on. It was obvious that that's what they were doing.
I'm just being cautious about saying things I don't know, but yeah, I think it was. Yeah, true. I'm not a person that thinks that black people or non-white people can't be racist. Like, I just disagree with that.
Right.
So, I think they can, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, that was something I was definitely very. I did a live stream about it the day after it happened. Very raw, kind of showing some of the video. They were yelling at the guy, fuck Trump, fuck white people, say you love black people, while they were making him drink out of a toilet. As they were cutting off a part of his skull, they said, fuck Trump.
I think it's definitely a hate crime. It's just a matter of what kind of hate crime, like how, if it's a racial hate crime, a special needs hate crime, some other kind of hate crime, but I think it definitely falls under there somewhere.
Are you in the camp that you can't be racist against white people?
No, I just said that I'm not.
Okay, I just making sure.
While I think the questions of racism get complicated when you start including all the shit about power, etc., that the feminist side often goes on about that people don't like. But I do think there is just a basic racism that anyone can experience. You know, I lived in Japan, for example. They were racist against Chinese people quite often, but and they're also, man, I'm just throwing Japan under the bus. They were also a bit racist about Koreans. So you just mention Chinese people and they'd be like, ugh. You know, and that wasn't against white people, that's against Chinese people. So I think anyone can be racist. As I said, it gets complicated with the whole power shit, but there is a basic racism. I agree with that.
I don't think that the whole power shit complicates anything. I don't think.
That's probably a conversation for another day, because that'll get tricky. But I do think that obviously you can be racist against white people. So, you know, I didn't mean like that. I didn't mean that as a qualifier to like underline me saying you can be racist against white people. I just meant like it literally does get complicated because you start talking about systemic racism, all this kind of shit. So, but the basics, yeah, you can be racist against anyone for sure. People are trying to say I'm backtracking. No, you can't.
Right. All right. Well, I think we have reached the end of this. We are 2 hours in. It has been great talking with you, Tim. Thanks for joining me.
Cool.
If you'll just stick around after the chat, after I bring us live, that'd be great.
Cool. Well, I got tense at times, but there's no hard feelings, and I appreciate it.
Definitely.
I hope I didn't say anything that was too douchebaggy.
It's fine. So I do want to thank everybody for joining us. Brad Impaler merch is still on sale at spreadshirt.com/Brad Impaler until the 12th. You can get 17% off using the coupon code HAPPY17. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Get the fuck out of here.